Hi, my name is Rachel. I am the Thrifty Crocheter, and I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Um, Today is Tuesday, September the 9th, and this afternoon we did the devotions outside my backyard. Um, and I forgot to bring my calendar with me. So today's stitch for September the 9th is a multiple of 10 stitches plus 4. That's today's. So, first I thought I would show you some projects that I'm working on. I am working on. Here's one project that I just started recently. And I am using some old Sayal yarns. And this Sayal has a Kmart label, also has a Kmart label attached to it. um, but anyway, I have started a granny virus, a granny virus blanket. And while I was watching the video for it, I made sure I got out my little notebook. Isn't this adorable? My brother got this for me. And I made notes on how to do it. It was very smart. Although I have a feeling I'm still going to be going back to the video just to double check notes and add more notes to it. And I also have stitch markers that I'm using with it to help keep so I know where I'm at and what I'm doing, all that kind of good stuff. I am using an H 5mm hook, then with those aerodynamic yeah. But I am going to try, because I have a big basket. Oh, you can't see it because it's kind of covered up right now. But behind me there is a basket full of this. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to use up a lot of that by making this blanket. So that's project number 1. Project number 2. I knew if I put it in a project bag, I probably wouldn't get back to it, and that's what happened. Remember a long time ago, little while back, I told you I was making these? Well, I'm still in the process of making this. I still have only 2 squares. I only have 2 squares done. I do have this yarn. I do have the yellow yarn for the center. And then I have picked out another yarn for the petals. But I threw it in a bag. Actually, I really like this bag. This is really cool. This is really cute. Got a couple of got a verse from Proverbs on it. It's kind of cute. Now, a project that I'm actually really working on, because I don't know if you remember when I showed you how to this blanket, there used to be about 5 colors on here. Now I'm down to about 1 color because I'm taking the yarn off of this blanket and adding it to this blanket. Oh, what are we caught on? Oh, we're caught on a hook. Imagine that. And I'm about not quite 40, but almost 40 out of 110 rows. So, that, so I'm getting really far on this one. Like I said, I've been taking the yarn off of another blanket that I got kind of bored with, and and I'm reusing it for another blanket. You know, that is, I know to some that seems weird, but trust me, in this world, that is allowable. If you get tired of a blanket and you don't want to, you know, like, nah, that's just not my vibe anymore, of course you can always frog it and use the yarn somewhere else. That is allowed. Um, Anytime you don't like a project, you can always frog it and say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to use that yarn someplace else. That's a good thing about yarn. It doesn't matter whether you're crocheting or you're knitting, you can frog it and use it somewhere else. Whereas if you were sewing and you know once you cut the fabric, you can't do anything else with it. But yarn's a little more forgiving. Because you can always tie them back together after you've cut them. You can always tie them back together and still use the yarn. So that's kind of the neat things about yarn. It's a little more forgiving. Now, I am about to take y'all back in time. I was born in 73. This was copyrighted 1970. This was one of the little booklets, one of a little stack of booklets that my girls got for me for my birthday a while back, a few years ago. And I was showing this to one of my girls, and she wants me to make this for her. So I have looked up the instructions and the type of yarn that it uses. Remember, it's the 1970s talk. Coates and Clark's O&T Speed Crocheting Mercerized Cotton. And it says it takes 8, 9, or 10 balls of number 51 spice for vest and 2 balls for the cloche. And that cloche is the hat. And they're using, it says a crochet hook size H. H as in hat. And the pattern, 4 stitches equals 1 inch. And 9 rows equals 5 inches. It says be sure to check gauge before starting article. Use any size hook which will obtain the stitch gauge above. Now, I did not start making a swatch, but I did, and I don't have that kind of yarn, but I did start with, I don't know how to pronounce this, MEILEMWEIT, Cotton Fun. It is 45% cotton, 42% virgin wool, and 13% polyamide. And it says it's machine washable. The color is Farbe, F-A-R-B-E, Party is a lot. This is the color. And I've started with this one. And I'm working on the hat. And it starts with the top down. And I'm only like it's only like my third row into it. And this is really, as you can see, this is really thin yarn. And if you can see, that is some really thin yarn. And I'm using I'm using an H. And it is not focusing. Anyway, that is an H. An H hook. Page 34. Okay. So, starting from the center top, chain 6, join with a slip stitch to form a ring. First round, chain 3, make 18 double crochets in the ring. That's right here, the 18 double crochets. And then chain 3, double crochet in the joining, and then 2 double crochets in each double crochet around. Join like before, so you have 38. So that's this row right here. And now I'm on row 3, and it's gonna have an odd number instead of an even number, because it says for the third round, chain 3, skip joining, 2 double crochets in each double crochet around, join, and have 75 double crochets. 75, that's an odd number. You would think it should end in an even number. Should say 76, not 75. I don't know. We'll have to figure out to make that work out correct. But I counted out, and I think it's going to work out correctly. So we'll see. Because then in the fourth round is where the pattern starts. So, all right, I am going way out of my comfort zone here, folks. Way out of my comfort zone. First of all, I'm making clothing. Like, I'm making a cloche and I'm making the vest. So I had to go with a vest. Making that vest, period. I've never made one of those before. And I'm using yarn that I don't normally use. And it's a pattern from 1970. So I'm talking way out of my comfort zone, folks. Way out of my comfort zone. But I'm making this for my daughter. And I have this particular yarn. Actually, you know what? I looked up Coates and Clark. Coates and Clark crocheting or something like that. And it's actually a crochet thread. But I am not about to use thread yet. So, I decided to use what I had, because my daughter was like, you know what, don't buy anything extra, just use the scraps that you have, and I would be happy with it. And I'm like, yay. But I do have in a couple of drawers over here, a bunch of other colors and name brand that I'm going to be using when I get done with this one. Like I have some patterns. Give me 1 minute, maybe 2. Okay, here are the types of yarn that I'm going to be using for this. Just to give you a brief idea. We have Patton's Croy Socks, 4-ply. I may use some of this, and this is the color. This gives a color number 55012. That's the dialogue. Glenchuck? I don't know, but it's a nice color. And then I'm also going to be using this Lang Yarns JAWOLL Super Wash. Hot washable 7. So we have this one. I also have, now this one is called Luster Sheen. Ooh, Miss Carrie! And we got Susan E. And Carrie. Yes, long time no see, little Carrie, as the other Carrie would say. Some knit and crochet. It's called Knit Crochet Luster Sheen from Red Heart. I'm going to be using that because I have a ton of that. It's Universal, from the Universal Yarn Company, Ditto, Knit, Relax, Smile, Repeat. So actually you could use this for crochet or for knit, but anyway, so I have some of this. And machine washable. I was trying to see if I had a color on here. Now I'll give the color number 4804, lot 2704. And then I have this interesting yarn too. What am I making? Okay, let me start completely over because I'm going to back up for a minute. I am working on a few things. I am taking apart one blanket and making another because the other blanket I was getting tired of. I was actually going to get bored of, so I'm working on that one. That was the striped blanket I've told you guys about before. If you go back to my other videos, you will see the one I was talking about in here. Or if you go watch the replay, you will see that. I have also started a granny virus blanket. And I am using Sayel yarn, old Sayel yarn, because I have a big basket full, literally a basket full. And the video that I was watching, I love this notebook, and it's cute. My brother got this for me. It's like little granny squares. I took a bunch of notes in there to how to make the granny virus blanket. I'm working on that. But when I did my devotions earlier today, I was outside doing it, and I forgot to bring this along. And this is from September 9th, for today, September the 9th, multiple of 10 stitches plus 4. Anyway, I have this is I gotta be careful, it's starting to fall apart on me. This little magazine, is, you missed a lot of videos. Well, go back and watch them. Go back and watch some of my lives and watch my and everything else. Like, comment, share, subscribe, everybody and anybody. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Anyway, this was now I've lost myself. Copyrighted. Thank you. In 1970, a few years ago, my daughter gave me a stack of these old crochet knit books, and my daughter, and I was telling her one of the things that I am making for the Decade Divas, and then I was showing her some of the things that were in here, and she liked this vest, and they call this hat, they call the hat a cloche, CLO, yeah, CLOCHE. I'm having trouble with words today, and it uses Coats and Clark speed crocheting mercerized cotton, and it's actually more of a crochet thread, but I'm going to be using this really fine yarns that I have, and I thought I would start with something. Um, I also have this Regia stretch. They have lots of fine. I have other colors too, but those are just a start. Um, I'm already three. I'm on the third row, third round. Third round into this, and started out with six, a chain of six, and I am having so trouble with words tonight, and I don't know why. Started with a chain of six, join, and then 18 double crochets, join, then 36 double crochets, join, and now we're having to do, well, this row here is 2 double crochets in each double crochet. So that's why you have the 36. And then, so this row is also 2 double crochets in each double crochet. But get this, it's supposed to end in 75. And I went like, that just seems strange to me because it should end in an even number, not in an odd number. Tony, Baboni, me, my Mamoni. Tony. It's the name game. Okay, I'm sorry. Um, that's how my mind works. Something reminds me of a song. I just have to say it. That's how I am. Okay. Okay, I have lost complete count. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. Okay. 39, 38. Carrie, just so you know, I took the summer off, and I'm just kind of slowly getting back in the swing of things. Like, toward the end of July and August, I started kind of getting back into things. I did do one more stitch on this Bella Crochet box. In fact, we're almost halfway through. We're almost halfway through this box. Ooh, actually, did more than that. We've only got one more left of the simple stitch combinations, and that'll be the Solomon knot. I tried read the instructions, and it was not clicking for me. So I'm gonna have to go look up a video to figure out how to do that. But I still can't quite get that one. And then after we're done with this half, then we'll be at the textured stitches. So that's gonna be fun. Then I need to get back into doing these. I do have a box I have a box that some of the squares are in that I've done so far. I've only done one of the flowered ones, and We've done a few of these, so we still need to do that. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Your father passed away earlier this year. I last time I lost my mom and my husband within a month of each other. I understand. And I just dropped my hook. Um, and then in July, my brother lost one of his best friends. So, yeah. But I'm so sorry for your loss, Miss Carrie. That's awful. Um, Hugs out to you. Oh, and there's Miss Shatika Woods. Mwah. She always has a nice verses to say, nice things to say after my devotions. Go check those out. I do have a list every time, and I need to update my list. I have a list of everything, of all the verses she has said, but I need to update it and add more to it, and then come back and read the verses to you all. I haven't done that for a little bit, so I got to do that. That's on my list of things to do. But I am still doing devotions every morning, and I close them out with my little prayer square. Trying to think what else. A few weeks ago, in our city, they had this thing where you could go to all the various, to some of these different thrift stores, and they would give you a stamp, and they would stamp it on your card, and then you would turn it in to get to win a prize. But and then they were also giving, like so much percentage off for each time you buy something at that store. I mean, it was fun. It was very hot that day, and we went to 6 out of 9 stores, which was awesome. Um, oh, I'm sorry, Tony, but I'm glad you do a Bible quote. Those are awesome, but I'm sorry that nobody stays to see it because they should. They should. Um, but I didn't buy any yarn. But that was the same weekend that my daughter and my best friend came in from out of town, and my daughter and her teamed up against me to find me clothes from the 80s because like that night we were going to an 80s night concert, and they teamed up against me to find an outfit to wear. No, you do not get to see the outfit, nor do you get to see the hairdo. I ain't doing that. Uh, um, but we had fun. It was so much fun listening to all that old music and singing and dancing. Um, so it was cool. It was cool. Um, so I haven't. She doesn't get because she lives several states away, so she doesn't come into town that often. So when she does, we hang out and we have a grand time. Um, but anyway, back to this. This is from 1970. Make a hat and a vest with very, very thin yarn that I am not used to using. I am, however, used to using an H hook. Oh, by the way, I kind of went out of my wheelhouse when I did the Decade Diva project because I use steel hooks. I used steel. I used steel hooks. I used a 00 steel hook, which is a 3.50 millimeter. And that one was probably, this one is probably the largest out of the steel hooks. And I was showing my daughter, not this past Sunday, but the week before that, I was showing her those hooks, and she's like, those are tiny. How can anybody make anything out of that? And I was like, now some people use them to make doilies, and they use crochet thread to make doilies. So anyway, but yeah, that is teeny tiny. I don't know that I would be comfortable with using one of them smaller ones, but I did use a steel hook. That was out of my wheelhouse. Um, so every once in a while, I do go out of my wheelhouse. Not very often. I can't remember who, but somebody challenged me to. Well, they kind of challenged everybody, but in a sense, they challenged me to go out of my wheelhouse and make something different. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. It can't it can't hurt to try. As long as I keep track of how many stitches there are, where everything is placed and such, hopefully it'll be okay. Although, um, you in the video with Psalm 23 1. Oh, from Psalm 23. Oh, my Bible's not in here. My sword is not in here. But yes, that's one of the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He restores my, yeah. That's awesome. Um, I mean, I don't have the Bible quite in front of me, but that's about as far as I can remember off the top of my head, which is sad. Um, but I have to. Um, I heard it, Tony, that you have some really great photography. You do some really great videos. Oh, and Nani May says that she loved the way that you go over to the graveyard and clean the gravestones, and she likes some of the pictures that you did for the families. She said that's wonderful, and that is really wonderful. I like that you do that for people. Um, because that's awesome. Because like over the years, there are some people every once in a while I catch a video of somebody, they use special chemicals, of course, to clean the grave, the gravestones, because over the years, the stones kind of wither away. They so sometimes some of the writing goes away, and so they clean them so that you can read them and see who it was and when they died, and sometimes some of the really old ones even tell you how they died. Um, um, Graveyard history. Yeah, some of them have some interesting history, I'm sure. Um, Sometimes I wonder. I was. I know this sounds weird, but to find a plot of land to have a cemetery, first of all, and two, I mean, you can only fit so many bodies within that plot. So then you have to. I don't know if they make the graveyard, if they buy more land and make the graveyard bigger, or if they just go make another graveyard, you're getting a whole new cemetery. I don't know how that works. because there's only because cities keep growing and adding more buildings, and so you run out of land, but you have to when people die, you have to bury them, so you need that land to bury them. But if people keep building on top of ground, sooner or later we're going to run out of place to bury dead bodies. Then what are we going to do, America? Then what are we going to do? I don't know. I don't know. I just thought about that, but anyway, I know I went off on another tangent, and I just was just like off the top of my head, something I was just thinking about. Um, okay, we're getting close to the end of this circle before we get to actual real patterns. So let me count here: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68. 8, 9, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, and 75, and then join. All right. Here's the top of our hat so far. Doesn't look like much, but there's the top. Because it's going from the top down. Um, Sorry about the noise. It's somebody running the car around in the back. Somebody running around their car in the neighborhood. If you heard the car running, it was like very loud. Um, I was off. This was my day off, and my daughter's on vacation, so did have to do some errands today. But it's been a pretty good day. The weather was actually nice. It started out kind of cool, and then it got warm. It got high of like 81, but this morning it was like 55, 60 degrees, so it was a little bit cool this morning. Um, but we've had some cooler weather, which is nice. Okay. The high's only been like in the 80s so far this week as far as the high, and like the lows have been like 60s, which is nice because it's fall, it's autumn. Or at least here in the States, it's getting to be autumn. Um, okay. Ooh. Row 4. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip joining. Double crochet in the next 2 doubles. Okay, so 1, 2, chain 1, double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, repeat from star and join around. So then the repeat is double crochet the next 3 doubles and then chain 1. So we're going to have, when we get to the join, there should be 25 spaces. Okay. So like here's the 3 doubles, here's the chain 1, 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles, and so forth, all the way around, so there will be 25 of these spaces. Hopefully. Three, chain 1. Now, I'm hoping that this vest and this hat are as simple as they look, because I thought it was going to be some kind of like a, almost like, because it looks similar, in my opinion. I mean, I haven't done it yet, and I don't think it's going to be like a granny, but in the picture, they almost look like a granny stitch, sort of, to me. But this is, right now I'm working on the hat, and it's a top down. So I'm working on that, and then when I get done with the hat, then I'm going to make this. And what it starts out, and you can't see the back, but it starts out with the back, and then it works the 2 fronts, because I read through the instructions. Then it tells you how to make how to do the chain for this part that crisscrosses that crisscrosses in front of the vest, and to make the tie. So this is what I'm making. Sorry. But I'm going to be using up a lot of really thin yarns. You love that? Thank you. My daughter wants me to make it for her. So I'm going to try to have this done by Christmas. We'll see. We'll see. Because I'm trying to do too many things at one time. And do a channel. And have a channel. So. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. I tell you, if when I get done making these, everything turns out right. I actually have, but I don't know if I'd have enough though. One time from one of the thrift stores I went to a long time ago, I got in this baggie, and it's all purple, this Egyptian mercerized cotton. And according to the instruction here, you're supposed to be using mercerized cotton. But I gotta find the perfect project for Egyptian mercerized cotton. I have never had anything like that before. Oh, ain't that the truth, Carrie? She says, isn't it cool how funny how stuff from way back comes back into fashion? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I don't know if it's true, but somebody said they thought they might bring stirrup pants back, and I'm like, why? And I was trying to explain stirrup pants to my kids. Yeah, and I was like, take yoga pants and put a stirrup on the bottom. And even she was like, why is there a stirrup on the bottom? I'm like, I don't know. That was just the fashion then. Um, and like you can buy, and like when we were kids, the holes that we put in our clothes, like in our jackets and in our jeans, we did that by playing hard, you know. Or sometimes we cut them that way so that we wanted to look that way because it was cool. Well, now you can go shopping at the store and find clothes that have been, yeah, with machines, you know, they were purposely cut to look because that's how they're supposed to be. They're made like that. Or whereas when we put holes in our clothes, that's from actual wear and tear. Um, I don't know, but at least crochet isn't just a quote old ladies unquote thing because you know not only do I see people our age and older crochet and knit, but I've also seen a lot of young people like kids. I call them anybody's in their 18 to 20s and 30s. I just cannot hold this hook tonight. I call them kids. Anybody in their 20s, I call kids. And so I see a lot of kids now that are making videos. I even see some actual little kids. Occasionally, I'll catch a little kid making a video. Not very often. Usually, I just see young adults making videos. Um, so it's not just crochet and knitting is not just an old ladies. I mean, you have ladies and gentlemen that are crochet and knitting, but it's not just an old ladies hobby. And if you think of, and if young people think about it, a lot of these quote unquote old people, um, when they're crocheting, they've done it for decades already, and so they started when they were kids, and so that's why they do it now because they've done it for so long. Some of them started when they were little kids, some maybe started when they were young adults, but they've been doing it for decades. So it's not just an old lady's hobby. It really isn't. Um, a lot of times they get passed down from generation to generation, and not everybody thinks about that. So anyway, chain one. Okay, let's see how many spaces we have so far. Okay, we have one, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. All right, wait a minute. Okay, there's one. There's two. There's three. There's four. There's five. There's six. There's seven. There's eight. There's nine. Okay, so we got nine. Well, hmm, I don't know what it's like to learn how to read anything with dyslexia because I don't have that. But for those that do, I'm sure learning was really really hard for you. Um, so yeah, because I read from a pattern or I'll watch somebody else's YouTube video. But this is like a pattern. I tell you, some of the people that I like, one of the ladies, one of the ladies I like to watch. She is actually blind, but she uses a huge, and she showed us one day this huge TV screen, and the words are all blown up like really big, so that she could see it out really up close. Like she gets like really up, really up, like close to see the words. Um, but one, two, three. I did a chain one. Okay. Um, so even people that are blind can even still feel where everything is in order to make things. Like she won a blue ribbon for the doll that she made, and she really did do a fabulous job on this doll. And she crochets like nobody's business, I tell you. Um, so I really applaud those who have disabilities, and they do not let their disability get them down in any way, shape, or form, and they keep on keeping on, because you can't let bad things get you down. You just keep going and going and going. I forgot the. Oh, hey, look, a kitty. Yep, that's kind of me too sometimes. That happens with me with with whips. I'm in the middle of making something, and I'm like, oh, look, another project to make. Ain't this fun? Get sidetracked with other whips all the time. Or my family's like, you don't need any more yarn. Oh, look, more yarn. That happens too. Oh, that reminds me. Um, Besides making the granny squares and the stitches, gonna be showing how to do these. I actually have. Where did it go? It just. Oh, it's inside my book. I actually have one of them made. This one's the Puddles Gather Rain. Um, this is one of these. It says Go Crochet Afghan Design Notebook or Workbook rather. 50 motifs, 10 projects, one of a kind results. So you're basically learning to make motifs to create a blanket, and I'm going to be showing you how to make the motifs in here. And what is so cool about this particular book is not only they give you the directions how to make the motifs. Get to the right page that I want. Hang on. It's basically giving you all the stuff about yarn and how to do everything. But this is not the point that I wanted to show. Okay, like for instance, they start you off with squares. They show you different ways to make this, to basically put these squares together. And then also, when you get to the actual motif, I mean, they give you directions, but they also give you a graph. But then they also show you other motifs that can go with it. When you're making a project, when you're making a blanket, these are some other motifs that can go with it, which I think is a really superb idea. That is just awesome. But I like that they give instructions for those who like to read instructions, and they give a graph for those who'd rather follow a graph. And then, of course, they have the picture so you can see what it looks like. So, we're also going to be doing, start. I don't have to start. I start them. I just don't finish them. But we're going to be doing that. And then, like I said, a few months ago, I got this perpetual calendar. So every day I've been showing you Like in August, they had motifs, and for this month, the month of September, I believe it was Pico's, Pico's and something. Oh, popcorns and Pico's. Um, and then so when the next year rolls around, I'm gonna actually show you how to do them. But for now, I'm just kind of showing you the pictures, the names of them. Cause I already got enough on my plate. So next year, I'm gonna start showing you guys how to do everything in the perpetual calendar. Because there's all kinds of different tons of stitches in here and motifs and edgings and um, just all kinds of really, really cool things in here. So that's next year's. That's next year's thing. But that's just kind of a heads up of an idea. As far as the perpetual calendar, that's next year. Right now, I'm just giving you a little sneaky peek. Three, chain one. One, two, three, chain one. Because see, the chain one is creating that. The chain one is creating that space between the set of threes. I might have to get my stage marker. Yeah, stage marker, stitch markers, and mark these because. Oh, wrong page. 34. I'm gonna look ahead. For fifth round, chain four, skip joining, skip next double, double in the next double, and double in the next space, double in the next double, chain one, repeat. Okay, so I'm gonna pretend it's all the way around. And we're back at the beginning, and we've start from there. So we're skipping the joining. Okay, chain four, yeah, skip joining. Skip next double. And we're gonna double crochet here. And then double crochet in the space, and then double crochet in the next double, chain one, and then skip the next double, and we're going to double, double, and double, chain one, skip one, and then double. Okay, so it's that so it's like that around. Okay, okie dokie. And we're still basically doing three doubles and then a chain one, but they're moving where they're putting them. They're because you're using part of the space. Because you're kind of filling in the space, so to speak, for the next set of doubles. Sometimes it helps to look ahead so you can kind of figure out where your project is going. I know when I watch vintage crochet, she does that a lot. She can't figure out what's going on. She'll look to the next step to see where it's going, and then she's like, okay, now she can figure out how this row is supposed to go in order for the next row to work out. You know, sometimes you got to do that. You got to look ahead, not necessarily make it, but you got to look ahead so that you can figure, oh, okay, this is what they're talking about. And then you're like, oh. But this hat takes a total of 14 rounds. So we are at only number 4 of 14. I don't think I'm going to stay here for long enough to do the whole 14 rounds. Okay, all right. I almost lost my where I was doing what I was doing. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Oh, what did we do? Oh, thought I lost my yarn. I didn't. Just part of it went down between the table and the chair, and I was getting stuck on the chair leg. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Let's see. How many spaces there are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Might be able to get 25 all the way around. Let's see. I haven't missed any of the, because I've been counting all my stitches. You ever done that? Count all your stitches to make sure everything is right, and somehow it still comes out wrong, and you're like, I had to have missed a stitch somewhere. I had to have miscounted somewhere. And remember, I am working way out of my wheelhouse, folks. I am using yarn that I don't usually work with. And I'm making clothes. And it's from the 70s. Okay, I'm about to join. Here's what I got so far. It's a little bigger. This is all I got so far. And this is after 4 rounds. So I'll be on round 5. And they're going to be working in a space. Hello, Naomi. Aloha Crochet with Naomi. You must be from... Well, thank you. I like the colors too. Are you from Hawaii? Is that why the aloha part? I think that would be neat to visit Hawaii. Any of the islands in Hawaii. I think that would be fun to visit. Yes, I know it's one of the 50 states. But yet... it feels like a vacation to me. Thank y'all. I this is what I'm making. It's from 1970. There's a vest and a hat. Well, the hat, they call it a cloche. And I'm working on the hat. And the hat is top down. So, and the yarn that I am working with is it, I'm not sure that this name is pronounced. MEILEMWEIT, and it says Cotton Fun. It is 45% cotton, 42% virgin wool, and 13% polyamide. I think it's called Party. I think the color is called Party. Name brand I think is Lana Grossa. I don't know. So one of the yarns I got from my thrift store. I have like all of my yarn comes from like the majority of my yarn comes from thrift stores because that's me. I love to shop at thrift stores to get my yarn, and then I use them to make all kinds of beautiful projects. And part of me one day would just like to thank thank the people who I would like to thank the people who dropped them off, because then somebody like me comes and buys them all, and I'm like, look what I made with your yarn. Thank you. Thank you for the lovely yarn you donated, because here's what I made with it. See, you thought you couldn't make anything with that little bit of yarn. Guess what I made? Guess what I did with it? See, you still could have made something with it, and this is what I made with it. Like, just when you think you can't make anything, oh, yep, you can. Oh, but you live in Kansas. Okay, you went from islands that are, from what I've seen from pictures and videos, are just gorgeous, to Kansas. Flat Kansas. I've been to Kansas, and it's nothing but once on vacation. It was just flat and it was hot then because it was in summertime, but it was like a dry heat. Like your car's been sitting out all day in the sun, and you open the doors and it's like stuffy heat, and it was like, ugh. I don't know what's worse, having dry heat that you're opening a door to, or being humid. I don't know what's worse. I think I'd rather take the humid air than the dry air, because the dry heat, it's like stuffy and you can't breathe, whereas at least when it's humid you could at least breathe. I don't know. Ooh. I think for this project I am going to use, look at this little tin. Look at this little teeny tiny tin. And inside this teeny tiny tin is this little guy. This little heart. A flower. A butterfly. A gnome. And a bumblebee. I think it's supposed to be a bumblebee. Might have to use those stitch markers. 1, 2, 3. Nope, there won't be enough. I want to, but there's not going to be enough. Maybe on another row I'll be able to. But anyway, it is Tuesday, and I hope all of you are having a good week so far. I work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week, and then I'm off the weekend. Yay! Yay! today I was glad to have today off because I worked 6 days straight before that. So, former Navy, retired trucker. You've been everywhere. Wow. I guess. Because, I mean, if you're working, I mean, if you're with like the Navy, the Air Force, Army, the Marines, they ship people everywhere and anywhere. At any get so. 'Cause I know my uncles were in the army. Each of my grandfathers were in the army, I believe. Well, at least one of my grandfathers, though he was a minister. He was a preacher for the army. Um, my dad wanted to be in the army. He wanted to be in the military, but he couldn't because he's blind in one eye. Um, and then sometimes I imagine what it'd be like to be a trucker. And another time I'm like, I'm glad I'm not a trucker. No offense, but I don't think I could live my life on the road all by myself. I don't think I could do that. I would get lonely. I would miss my family too much. To, but it takes special people to be truckers, and I do appreciate truckers and for all that they do and for everything that they haul back and forth across our nation, and I do appreciate them. Because they do a lot. They don't just drive them. They have to take care of whatever it is that they're hauling and making sure that it gets to their destination on time and nothing wrong happened to that whatever it is that they're hauling. So they're taking care of everything. Um, but yes, so thank you to Tony and anybody else who has military in their family. Thank you so much for your service. I work in um, a hospital where I deliver trays. And anytime I see a patient that is from the military, doesn't matter what branch, I always tell them, because a lot of times, they'll wear the hats that say retired military, and they'll say what branch, and I always tell them thank you for their service, because that's just out of respect and honor. That's something that we should do as Americans. Anytime you see a retiree, from the military, you always tell them thank you for your service, because they did a lot for us. So, thread right here on the shelf. But the only thing I've done with them, well, not the only thing. I have done a couple things recent, this past year. I decided to make. I took there was there was three colors, and I took them together and I crocheted this really long chain, and then I caked it up, and then way later down the road, I found this yarn that looks a lot like it. It looks similar to it. So I like to keep these two together. One of these days, I think I might make a project using these two together. But the only reason I did this, and I made this cake, which was I used some pink and yellow and like a purple. I did the same thing. I took the three strands together and just made a really long chain and then caked it up. Um, I was thinking about those yarns. I think they're called like chain link yarn or something like that. And I decided to kind of create my own version of it using crochet thread. Um, so that was kind of like my take on it. May not be the exact same thing, but I decided to kind of create my own version for myself. Um, I had fun doing that. Um, what else? Oh, thank you, Carrie. Um, but I just thought that was funny how later down the road I find another ball of yarn, another skein of yarn that I kicked it up because it looks so much similar to the one that I made. This one has other colors. It's got red and blue, reds and blues and whites, and a little bit of yellows maybe. But it's so similar. I mean, it's uncanny. You would think that they were the exact same, but no, they're different. They're different. But they look really close together. Really close together. I haven't decided what I'm going to make with them, but one day I probably will make something with those. I think that would be fun. That'll be something interesting. Probably something little. Something little. Oh, speaking of little, and it's back here in a whip bag too. Um, some of you you might know the Woobles. Uh, the Woobles. Um, instead of making them they are about this size, I decided to take blanket yarn, and I'm making the dinosaur. Right now I'm working on the dinosaur. And then when I get done with that dinosaur, I'm going to make a couple more dinosaurs. There's enough yarn out of my blanket yarns. I'm going to make a couple more so I have like a little family of them. And they're like about the size of this book. So you're going to go, instead of making an animal that's like this size, you're going to have an animal that's about this size. So just to prove that you can make a stuffed animal out of any size yarn. You could take an animal, and instead of using 4-weight yarn, you can use to make it bigger if you want to and make it more fuzzy. Use some blanket yarn, and then it'll be big and plushy. That's an idea. That's just an idea for you to kind of throw out. Um, oh, I am also working on a friend of mine from work gave me her yarn. So with her yarn, because she said she's not going to crochet or knit anymore, she gave me her yarn, and so in return, I'm making a blanket for her. Making some, and I'm using doing some Tunisian crochet. I have bamboo crochet hooks in here, and I'm making the squares, right? And I'm going to be, it's supposed to be rectangles, but my rectangles are kind of looking more like squares. And then I'm going to, actually they are squares. Then I'm going to crochet them all together to make her a blanket with all the yarn. Plus I'm using some of my own yarn that I have, so I'm making sure to use up as much of the yarn that she gave me as possible first, and then that way she can see, what can be made with that yarn. So, I mean, she didn't ask me to do that. That's something that I decided to repay her kindness with, just by making her something, because I felt it was only right, you know. Um, Sometimes you just gotta repay kindness with kindness. I mean, hello, 365 days of kindness. I mean, that's what I'm all about, is being kind 365 days of the year. So, um, anyway. Okay. All right, I'm going to pull that up a little bit. So, we have, okay, wait. Do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, somehow I have, supposed to have 25. Did I miscount somewhere? I think I'm about to get mad at myself. I don't know if I miscounted or if I am. Okay. There's the round 4, chain 3, skip the join. No, here's the chain 3, skip a join and do crochet double on a double, right? And double crochet. Okay, chain 3, skip joining, double crochet at the next 2 doubles. So I did that. Then chain 1, double crochet in the next 3, and then chain 1. Okay, I'm gonna have to get stitch markers. But I'm gonna set this down before I get mad at myself and just totally. I've had to do that so many times with different projects. I've had to just set it down and get mad at it, frustrated with it, set it down and walk away. I've had one project I literally threw across the room I was so mad at. But I made it. It was this round blanket. It was circular. And I think part of my problem was is that and it was a pattern in one of my crochet world magazines. And I think I know one of my problem was is that when the way it was sitting on the couch in this picture, it almost gave it a heart shape to it. And so I was kind of, every time I tried to make it, I was like, wait a minute, this is not turning out heart shaped whatsoever. And that was just driving my mind nuts. Not to, and then on top of that, it was doing a lot of stitch work that I have never done before, that I was trying to figure out where behind they were putting the stitches. And I was like, oh, it was the hardest thing. It was so hard. Mm. And then I only had one other time before that that was really hard to make because I was not understanding how they wanted, because I was having to make all the different pieces for it and then put it together. Some people really like the hard stuff that I make, and other people are just like I had. And then there are some people one person I made a really hard stuff for this couple, and the husband just trashed it, and I was so mad because it took a lot of money to make it, and it was a lot of money for me then, which was like 50, $60 worth of yarn from, I was like Walmart or something, or Joann's or something, I don't remember. And it was, and the patterns for each of each of the squares and the rectangles and the stripes were all really difficult for me to understand. And at the time, and it was like, really? And you have people like that where you have found some friends and family members who just love the stuff that you make, and then there are people who just they think that it's cheap because you made it, and it's like it's not cheap. Just because I made it doesn't mean it's cheap. I hate that. I hate that when people say it's cheap just because you made it. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Complain, complain, complain. That's just me. Anyway, I think I've talked your guys' ear off. It's been an hour and a half. Everybody like, comment, share, subscribe. Give me all the thummies. Thummies, thummies, thummies. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Um, Go back and watch. Excuse me. Go back and watch. Replay all my lives. Go back and watch all my other videos. Oh, that's another thing. I've started this year, I started to put them into the different categories. Like there's one for the Velcro crochet stitches. There's ones for the granny squares. There's one for the playlist for the devotions. There's a playlist for when I read the Bible. Um, so go back and watch those. And read them and watch them in there. If you have the time, watch them in their entirety. I almost said read. Watch them in their entirety because YouTube and their how they like things. Um, but yeah, I am as far as number of subscribers, I'm only like 3 or 4 away from getting my first 500. So I'm really really close. I might get at 496. It keeps jumping back and forth between 96 and 97. So I'm really close to that first 500. But I still need a ton of watch hours. Um, I mean, I'm not looking to get monetized really quickly, but I'm, I'm just trying to work my way up a little bit at a time so I could do other things that YouTube allows people to do when they're monetized. Um, that I can't do right now. But I now just want to get to my first. That's my goal right now is to reach the first 500. So tell all your friends and family about me and come watch me. Um, I hope all of you have had a wonderful evening and a wonderful day. And I hope you guys had a terrific Tuesday and a marvelous Monday. And I hope tomorrow is a wonderful Wednesday. And that you have a thankful Thursday and a fabulous Friday. And this weekend will go wonderful for you. And I will have another devotion for you tomorrow. So, with that, speaking of my devotions, I think I'm going to go ahead and end it with this. This small swatch of yarn has been woven with prayers. As you hold this swatch in your hand, may you feel God's strength, love, and peace flow and know that He holds you in His hands. May God bless and comfort you in your time of need and give you peace. Amen. Love y'all. Bye.